Coming up, lawmakers demanding answers from Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook CEO's defense on Capitol Hill this week.
Find out why the FBI raided the home of President Trump's lawyer.
Plus the release of a book that promises to tell all about the president.
And severe storms hitting parts of the U.S. today. Newscene starts right now.
Welcome to Newscene. I'm Melanie Green.
And I'm Matthew Powers.
Former FBI Director James Comey announced a memoir he will be releasing telling stories of his life and of President Trump before being fired. The memoir, titled A Higher Loyalty, is being described by some as painting a, quote, unsparing and embarrassing portrait, end quote, of the president. An excerpt from the book involves Comey recounting a dinner with Trump early on in his presidency, where Trump refers to the infamous Golden Showers tape detailed in an unverified dossier. Comey has begun making media appearances to promote his new book amidst the ongoing Russian probe, as his book is set to release next Tuesday. President Trump has since responded on Twitter, calling Comey a quote-unquote slimeball.
And more on the Facebook scandal, here is Yakira Delgadillo with details on this week's hearings. Yakira?
Thank you, Matt. For all of you who are Facebook users, the social media network has been under fire. The U.S. Congress has been questioning Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook's inability to protect your information. Earlier this week, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent hours testifying in front of the House and Senate over the safety of user data and the involvement in a political scandal.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
Tuesday, before the Senate Judiciary and the Commerce Committee, it became clear that they wanted more than an apology from Zuckerberg.
Why should we trust Facebook to make the necessary changes to ensure user privacy and give people a clearer picture of your privacy policies?
The primary topic of discussion was the 2016 election and the improper gathering of information for over 87 million Facebook users by the Cambridge Analytica data firm connected to the Trump campaign. Facebook discovered the misuse of information in 2015 and recently began to notify users.
When we heard back from Cambridge Analytica that they had told us that they weren't using the data and had deleted it, we considered it a closed case. In retrospect, that was clearly a mistake.
Zuckerberg continued to ensure that Facebook does not sell user data.
One core tenet of our advertising system is that we don't sell data to advertisers. Advertisers don't get access to your data.
San Diego City College student Elaine Hernandez, who studies information technology, believes that the scandal will discourage Facebook usage.
I feel like the platform was already dying, and now that this scandal broke out, I feel like definitely more people are going to start leaving it. So I think Facebook's going to start losing its numbers.
Facebook does have privacy settings where you can check to see if your information was reached. As the story develops, we will keep you updated. Now back to both of you at the desk.
Thanks, Akira. This week, we have learned more about the FBI's raid of the home, office, and hotel of President Trump's personal lawyer. Sources told CNN that federal agents... For Newscene, this is Jack D'Amicis.
Sources told CNN that federal agents who raided Michael Cohen's apartment were searching for communications between President Trump and his long-term lawyer about the now infamous Access Hollywood tape.
Nice seeing you. Terrific. Terrific. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. Grab them by the I can do anything.
It's the first known direct mention of the president in a search warrant in connection to the Russia probe. The warrant also references bank and wire fraud along with the Stormy Daniels payment. Last week on Air Force One, reporters asked the president about the $130,000 payment.
President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
Did you ever set
The Washington Post reports former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon is pushing a plan to disrupt the Russia investigation by firing Rosenstein, but both Democrats and Republicans are warning against any move against the special counsel.
Well, I think it would be a constitutional crisis, but let's hope that he does not.
I think President Trump's going to war. I think it's very obvious he's going to go to war in this.
For Newscene, Jack D'Amicis.
Thank you, Jack. In a stunning statement, the White House claimed that President Trump has the authority to fire special counsel Robert Mueller. As the story develops, we will keep you updated. Speaker Paul Ryan addressed House Republicans Wednesday morning, announcing
He's announcing he will not seek re-election. Ryan attributed some of his decision to wanting more time with his family, noting his oldest is the same age that Ryan was when his dad passed. There is now a total of 39 GOP members not running for re-election, Ryan being one of the more high-profile members to retire. Ryan did not mention Trump in his press conference, but a source claimed Trump was not involved with Ryan's decision. Ryan won his last re-election with 65% of the vote, though he expects this to be his last job in elected politics.
California is adding 400 National Guard troops, but it's unknown how many will be at the U.S.-Mexico border. The state joins Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona in supporting the president's new border security mission. Governor Jerry Brown released a statement clarifying his decision. He says it will not be a mission to build a new wall or to round up women and children or detain people escaping violence and seeking a better life. And the California National Guard will not be enforcing federal immigration laws. He said they will be used to target gangs, human traffickers, as well as gun and drug smugglers along the border. He added that there is no massive wave of migrants pouring into California. Coming up, find out President Trump's plan to handle the recent attacks in Syria.
And see if your favorite soccer teams are still in the Champions League in our sports segment. We'll be right back.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
As the Trump administration continues to debate how to respond to the latest suspected chemical weapons attack by the Syrian government, the president says that a military strike may not come as soon as originally expected. Newscene's Gabriel Salazar explains.
Tweeting Wednesday that missiles are coming, Defense Secretary James Mattis says the administration's goal is not to engage in a Syrian civil war, but any use of chemical weapons changes the dynamic.
Some things are simply inexcusable, beyond the pale, and in the worst interest of not just the Chemical Weapons Convention, but of civilization itself.
Complicating any sort of military strike, though, are the fact-finding teams from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, expected to start work on the ground there on Saturday.
We will facilitate the arrival of the team to anywhere they want in Duma.
According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 500 patients were presented to health facilities exhibiting signs and symptoms consistent with exposure to toxic chemicals. The video shows the suffering aftermath of men, women, and children.
I cannot tell you that we had evidence, even though we certainly had a lot of media and social media indicators that either chlorine or sarin were used.
Meanwhile, the Russians continue to deny an attack ever happened, with its Ministry of Foreign Relations saying, "We regard the WHO statement as irresponsible proliferation of unreliable and unsubstantiated information that could provoke new aggressive actions," hinting at larger implications.
On a strategic level, it's how do we keep this from escalating out of control.
Gabriel Salazar, Newscene.
Thanks, Gabriel. The UN called for a Security Council to find a solution for this dilemma. A draft resolution was proposed to ban all chemical weapons in Syria for good.
There has been at least 257 people killed in a military plane crash on Wednesday near the Algerian capital. The crash happened shortly after taking off from Boufarik Air Base. A plane crew of 10 were killed. It's not clear if there were any survivors. This is the deadliest plane crash since 2014. The plane was on its way to Boufarik, to Tindouf, and then to Bashir. Both towns are on the Algerian-Morocco border. Images show smoke billowing from the aircraft's fuselage, tilted on its side. Dozens of bodies lined up in number bags on the ground. Firefighters and paramedics worked at the crash site while cranes began moving debris.
The president of Ecuador, Lenin Moreno, addressed the latest on 3 journalists that have gone missing. While investigating drug-related violence along Ecuador's border, 2 journalists and a driver were kidnapped and taken hostage just 3 weeks ago. It is believed they were kidnapped by a demobilized faction of Colombian forces. Now, Moreno is saying that these journalists were likely killed, and he gave their captors 12 hours to prove they were alive, before he launched a major military operation against them. Moreno reiterates that he will not allow Ecuador to become a place that accepts transnational drug gangs.
Recreational marijuana sales are booming around California, but what exactly is the tax money going toward? Newscene Adonis Albright has the story.
Hey guys, we're here in downtown at one of the marijuana dispensaries called Urban Leaf. This is one of the places that started out as a medical marijuana dispensary, but got their recreational license in January and are now in the process of opening up a 3rd location. Now, what brings us down here is a recently published report saying the tax revenue being generated by the sale of recreational cannabis are still booming 3 months after being legalized. Now, of course, this all brings us back to Prop 64, which passed last November, allowing for the distribution of 17 recreational licenses, with at least 12 of them currently operating in San Diego County. Since the legalization of recreational marijuana at the start of the new year, many San Diego residents have taken to the novelty of cannabis. As part of Prop 64, 60% of the tax revenue generated goes toward youth programs, including drug education, prevention, and treatment. I asked San Diego City College students how they feel about where those tax dollars are going.
I can understand the purpose of it, and it does seem to help some people in some ways. And it's not like cigarettes. Cigarettes are terrible. They're like full of such chemicals, and they're just really bad for you, as opposed to marijuana, which is just the plant and has had some medical benefits.
1, it's not harmful. 2, it's going to be beneficial financial-wise for the entire state. And 3, I'd like to say that it's far less detrimental than a lot of the things that we push, like alcohol and cigarettes.
These NGOs support job placement programs, mental health treatment, as well as helping those suffering from substance abuse.
Yeah, I've actually thought that recreational marijuana should have been taxed and legalized a long time ago. So I'm in favor of having that happen. I don't think that it's any different than alcohol in a lot of ways. And so I'm in favor of it.
Now, the figures on how much tax revenue has been generated in the first 3 months of the year are expected to be released in May, and experts are projecting the number to be at least $1 billion statewide. So, of course, that's good news not only for us here in San Diego, but for all of California, as more dispensaries are expected to be open throughout the year. In downtown, I'm Adonis Albright for Newscene.
High times in California indeed, Adonis. Thank you for the report.
Canada's beloved sport of ice hockey has been struck with tragedy through the recent loss of their young athletes. Maria Murcia gives us an insight on what happened.
The Humboldt Broncos were heading to the town of Nipawin for a playoff game when the team's bus collided with a semi-trailer truck. 29 people were on the bus when the crash happened, killing 15, leaving 14 injured. 10 of the victims range between the ages of 16 to 21. And 5 are from the team's staff. Player Xavier LaBelle was incorrectly identified by authorities as deceased, but is among the injured. The young athletes are part of the Saskatchewan League before being chosen to play for college, and then later on for the major teams in the NHL. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeted out, "I cannot imagine what these parents are going through. My heart goes out to everyone affected." Ice hockey fans in Canada and around the world are leaving their hockey sticks outside their homes for tribute, sharing their photos through social media with the hashtag #PutYourSticksOut and hashtag Humboldt Strong. NHL teams showed their support over the weekend, from moments of silence to wearing stickers or the team name on their own uniforms. A GoFundMe page was set up last Friday to benefit the players and families of the team and has received over $4 million in just 48 hours. For Newscene, I'm Maria Murcia.
The death toll has now reached a staggering total of 16 after Humboldt's athletic trainer Dana Bronze died in the hospital this Wednesday, just days after the crash. Police are still investigating how the incident occurred.
And many headliners in the world of sports tonight. What's been going on, Ellie?
Well, you guys, the NBA regular season came to an end this Wednesday with some exciting matchups from the teams in the pursuit of the playoff spot. The Pelicans Spurs faced off the New Orleans game where the winner would
finished 6th and the loser 7th. And the West Pelicans star Anthony Davis had a stellar night with 22 points and 15 rebounds, securing the Pelicans win. But the hot game of the week was when Denver at Minnesota. It was the direct matchup for the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. It was a close physical game, but at the end, the home court advantage helped the Minnesota Timberwolves to advance to its first playoff appearance since 2004. Now the playoff picture looks like this for both Western and Eastern Conference. The games will begin this Saturday. Now moving on, it appears that not all said and done in the Champions League quarterfinals second leg. Rome received Barcelona last Tuesday in the match series that appeared to be over, but the Italian club never stopped believing. Rome went up 2 goals thanks to Edin Dzeko and Daniele De Rossi, and they only needed 1 goal to tie the game in the overall score, then proceeded to the next round. And at the last minutes of the game, Codes Manolas scored the decisive goal. This has been one of the biggest upsets in Champions League's history. Moving on to the Real Madrid-Juventus game, the Spanish club seemed to have it all under control with 3-0 advantage over Vizca Singora. But thanks to Mandzukic early headers in the first half and the 60-minute goal from Blaise Matuidi, the game appeared to be heading into the overtime, but at the very last minute, the referee marks a very controversial penalty from Cristiano Ronaldo, would only score to seal up the matchup. Now, for MLB fans, emotions ran high, and the players got tested when the bench-clearing fight took over the stage during the Padres and the Rockies game. Take a look at this video. Take a look at this video, you guys. As Perdomo tossed his glove at Furious Arenado, the big hitting third baseman started throwing punches at the pitcher in the 3rd inning. The night before, Rockies reliever Scott Oberg hit Padres center fielder Manuel Margot in the ribs. That carried over on Wednesday when Rockies shortstop Trevor Story was a hit in the 1st inning, and the Padres right fielder Hunter Renfroe was planked in the 2nd. And folks, that will do it for the World of Sports tonight. Back to you two at the desk.
Thanks, Ellie. Find out which rapper surprised audiences after months of secrecy in entertainment. Don't go anywhere.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
The San Diego City Council approved a water purification project on Tuesday. The Pure Water Project is expected to provide 83 million gallons of drinking water per day in 20 years. It will help reduce the city's reliance on imported water. Construction will begin on pipeline leading to a purification facility in Miramar next year.
And families and friends welcome home thousands of sailors from the USS Carlton Vinson who came home to San Diego Thursday morning. The sailors were gone on a 3-month-long deployment conducting routine operations in the Indo-Pacific region. The aircraft carrier did make stops along their trip to Guam, Malaysia, Hawaii, and Vietnam. According to Navy officials, the visit to Vietnam was the first by a carrier strike group in over 4 decades, which helped strengthen ties between the U.S. and Vietnam.
Students at City College were able to de-stress before finals with the Health and Wellness Expo. The Mental Health Counseling Center, along with the first-year services, partnered with over 30 community health and wellness representatives from all across San Diego to promote a healthy and stress-free lifestyle. Planned Parenthood, San Diego Blood Bank, and Covered California were among the booths at the expo. Attendees also had opportunities to practice healthy behaviors by engaging in de-stress activities like yoga, meditation, and art therapy.
And in some local news, San Diego City College will be hosting their 13th annual Student Project and Research Symposium as a celebration of student excellence. Students will be presenting their projects through posters, oral presentations, video, artistic displays, and performances. This is also considered as an open house for clubs to show students what they do and pursue them to join next semester. The event will be held on Thursday, April 19th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the AH Quad.
You may recognize her from the news. Leanne Kim was an anchor at ABC Channel 10 for many years. Since then, Kim has worked on many projects. Her latest dives into the world of theater.
We're learning more tonight about a driver who died after his car went over a cliff in Torrey Pines. Wraps things up for me.
Well, it does. Tonight we're saying goodbye to our colleague and our friend Leanne Kim.
Leanne Kim is no stranger to the spotlight. She's a veteran San Diego news anchor, and after more than a decade in the industry, she's taking on a new project. She's playing a town archivist in the interactive play Beach Town at the San Diego Repertory Theater. The story revolves around a time capsule celebration for the fictional city of Beach Town. While this is her first performance in a play, she says her experience as an anchor helped her prepare.
Certainly my experience in news really helped with this because Susan Suhiro, as the archivist, she does the presentations. So it's kind of like my own little newscast about the time capsule.
The play lets the audience decide what artifact will go in the time capsule, each artifact representing issues that affect many people today, from feminism to gun control. Kim says that this was a challenge for her.
What I'm not used to is interacting, right, with the audience in the way, and expressing my opinions as a journalist, right? So in this show, we're having to make decisions on how we feel and make judgments about how we feel and expressing those, which was really outside of my comfort zone.
And that's what Beach Town is meant to do. In a space where the audience is usually on the sidelines, they're invited to speak up.
I hope that people walk away from Beach Town kind of questioning themselves and saying, I heard this other opinion, maybe I should listen to other people more. And ultimately, it's really about creating a more compassionate society.
For Newscene, I'm Tyra Wu.
You can see Leanne Kim in Beach Town at the San Diego Repertoire Theater at Horn Plaza tomorrow and Sunday afternoon.
Grab your flower crowns and canteens. It's officially festival season. Here is Tara Morales with updates about your Coachella weekend.
Thanks, guys. A new show on Broadway is so fetch. Mean Girls by comedy writer Tina Fey took the stage last Sunday at Broadway's August Wilson Theater. Mean Girls uses satire to express the social cliques that form in high school. Critics say that Fey focused on the themes of women empowerment in the musical version of Mean Girls. If you're familiar with the film, you'll recognize the Plastics, the popular girls who will break into musical scores with their famous comedic characteristics. Many iconic lines from the film are also delivered in the musical. Critics say fans will be pleased with the endlessly rewatchable film with some gruel dance moves. And breakout rapper from the Bronx, Cardi B is reaching milestones in her career and personal life. The 25-year-old MC has been topping the charts since her debut single Bodak Yellow dropped last year. Cardi released her debut album Invasion of Privacy last week under Atlantic Records, and according to Forbes, the album is already eligible for a gold certification. Invasion of Privacy has 13 tracks and features stars such as Migos, Chance the Rapper, SZA, Kehlani, and 21 Savage. But the album wasn't only Cardi's secret. During her Saturday Night Live performance last week, Cardi revealed that she is pregnant with her fiancé Offset from Migos. Congratulations, Cardi! And the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival kicks off this weekend, April 13th. The lineup includes headliners Beyoncé, The Weeknd, Eminem, Cardi B, and many more. Beyoncé was set to headline last year's festival, but was pregnant with her twins at the time and canceled due to doctor's orders. Attendees of Coachella are awaiting Queen Bey's performance and are buzzing on social media with #Baychella. Many fans are hoping that she is debuting a new album at Coachella, and Bey has reportedly been clocking 11-hour rehearsals with her dancers, perfecting the performance before showtime. And you can't make it out to Coachella? Well, Beyoncé plans to live stream her performance on YouTube, so we won't miss out on any of the action. And that's all I have for entertainment. Back to you at the desk.
And if you're heading to Coachella, expect some hot temperatures, and we'll have more on that later.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you're beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
all the kind comments and brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Next.
Welcome back. Here's David Jones with more on the weather in Coachella.
Thanks, guys. So it looks like after getting a short break from that nasty weather that we saw in the Northeast, we are having some severe weather alerts in several parts of the United States. So it looks like we're going to have some flash flooding, maybe some thunderstorms in the South and the Midwest regions later today, excuse me. There's a 25% chance it's already raining. Expect those storms to sweep to the East Coast through Sunday. Also, there might be some pockets of snow and hail in the northern parts of the country. So if you have loved ones that live in that area, just expect they will see some moisture. Moving on to our local weather. Here's a snapshot of our local temperatures here in San Diego. A snapshot of our current time. Thank you. We can expect some clear skies and some warmer weather and a little bit of gust in the valleys. But other than that, it's going to be nice and sunny here. 60s and 70s across the county. Warmer in the valleys than it is in the coast. And then a little bit cooler in the mountain areas as we move on to our 8-day forecast. There's going to be average highs of 70s and 80s around in the county, as we can see here. There will be a nice weekend. We can look forward to that. There will be a 2-day cool down on Monday and Tuesday, and then those clouds will come back on Thursday. But other than that, lots of sun. We're going to see 60s and 70s to in the inland or at the coast. I'm sorry, excuse me. But inland, we're going to have mid 70s. So I encourage everybody to take advantage of all that good weather. If you guys are going to India, if you guys are headed up there, underneath, it's going to be under 80 degrees today, and that's the perfect time to go. If you're going to go maybe tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit warmer. 89 degrees up there on Saturday. That's a little bit warm for me, but then again, Beyonce is going to be there. Tyler, the Creator, is going to be there. It might be, it might be worth it. But if you're staying here in San Diego, there's also some great events that are happening. There's going to be whale watching as well as the Day at the Docks. So for all you sports fishers, go out there and check it out. It's free. And that's all the time that I have for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, David, for that weather report. So, Matt, are you thinking of streaming Coachella when you're at home?
Nah. I'm not going to stream any of that. I'm just going to hang out with my pups. And are you going to go? You packing up the RV, wearing a flower crown?
Unfortunately not, but I will still wear a flower crown.
Cool. Well, that's all the time that we have for Newscene. I'm Matthew Powers.
And I'm Melanie Green. Tune in next week for Newscene.